Recently, I asked a group of Americans who are living in Denmark what Christmas traditions they have that they don't see here in Denmark. And quite frankly, the Danes just don't understand. I'm going to tell you all about them. Stay tuned. Hi there and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Kelly and I'm an American who lives in Denmark. I actually come from the American Midwest. I was born in the state of Ohio, but I lived for most of my life in the state of Illinois, not too far away from the city of Chicago. And I have really found out, actually from moving to Denmark and talking with Americans who come from other parts of the USA, that some of our traditions that we have for Christmas are similar and some are not. But I can tell you right now that they are also very different from what you would expect to find here in Denmark. So I thought I would tell you what I found when I was doing a little digging about not just what I think the differences between an American and a Danish Christmas are, but what other Americans think as well. Because when you think about Denmark, Denmark is about the size and population of the state of Maryland. And that is not a very big state. We know the United States is huge. So to say that there's one American culture is not really something that's logical, right? And so if there are a lot of different types of people living in that country, then there's going to be a lot of different ways that they celebrate Christmas. I know from just this channel and talking to people in the comments, a lot of Danish people have different experiences based on where they live. Denmark is a small country, but people still have their cultural differences. Now I'm going to be telling you 20 things that Danes just don't understand or they just don't do with regards to how Americans in general celebrate Christmas. Now this is going to be part one of a two-part series because I can't fit it all into one video. To me that's a very long video. So I'm going to shorten it up and make it into two videos for you. And I know right now that there will be some Americans out there who will say, I don't celebrate Christmas this way. Well, this is something that I feel is very true to me. These are things that, you know, oh yeah, I have heard of these things. Maybe we don't celebrate them, but yes, I know a lot of people do. So I'm going to be focusing on them, the ones that I have gotten from my little group that I had asked to live here in Denmark. I'm also going to add in a few things towards the end of the video of things that I had never heard of before with regards to how people celebrate Christmas in the United States. And I think they're very interesting, and I think that you'd be also interested to know about them. Before I get started with this list, if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, please consider doing so. I would love to have you along for more videos. Don't forget to ring the bell to get notifications whenever I post new videos. I've been talking a lot about Christmas in Denmark, and I'm really excited to talk a little bit more about these similarities and differences with Denmark and the USA. So let's get started. So the first one is singing Christmas carols. A lot of times you might see in TV shows or movies that people go out and, I don't know, maybe they're walking in their neighborhood and they're singing Christmas carols, or they'll go up to somebody's house and they'll sing Christmas carols. Maybe it's someone they know, maybe it's a complete stranger, but people tend to get in groups and go sing Christmas carols. This is true. This is very true. This is very true of Americans. This is not true in Denmark. I have not seen this anywhere. I particularly love that tradition, and I think I would love to get it started here in Denmark. I think that would be so much fun. I know that growing up, we would go to the nursing homes like the plejehjem, and we would sing Christmas carols. I sang Christmas carols to a lot of different people, and I would say that most of them were people I didn't know. Maybe it would be that our town was having some type of Christmas festival and we would be standing in a certain area and we'd be singing Christmas songs. I mean, I even played in a band where we would play Christmas songs. I've seen the band. We have a local scout group who has a band, and I've seen them, you know, perform, and that's probably the closest that I've seen to anything like music out and about for Christmas. But Christmas carols, yes, I really love Christmas carols. And you know what? Danes love to sing. You know, I would think that would be very popular here in Denmark. Number 2 is decorating your house for Christmas. And you know what? I mean, I live in a very traditional town, a very traditional street with a lot of older Danish people, and they have decorations. They have lights in their bushes or on their flagpoles. I love the lights on the flagpoles in Denmark. I need to get one of those. We have lights on our house. And I know that there are a few houses who are really getting into this. There's one outside of Viborg I have heard of. I haven't seen it yet. That's on my to-do list of this family. They prepare for like months and months to get their house decorated. But that is something that's typically not Danish, you know, where you would go full out. So what I'm saying is that in the US, you could have a house that has all these different things out on the yard, and every possible place that you could put a Christmas light has a Christmas light. It's not normal for everyone, but I can tell you that we did a lot more decorating in the US for the outside of our house than we do in Denmark. And I think it's just because it was normal. You know, you could definitely walk down the street with no lights on anywhere and it would be lit enough to see where you're going because of all the lights on everybody's trees and houses. Number 3, this, when I had asked people, it was said often. For me, I have never had this in my entire life, but I feel it's worth enough to say because so many Americans know of this. And I know it exists in my family, but I just personally have never had it. It's eggnog. I know that in Denmark they have gløgg, which is, you know, like the spiced, you know, wine, but it's hot. I don't know how to describe it. I knew of it first because, you know, it's very German. Glühwein, it's kind of the same thing. If it's different, let me know. But I've had Glühwein. I haven't had gløgg, I don't think. But eggnog is like our holiday drink, and I can't tell you anything about it because I have never had it. The name of it was just something that I thought, I don't know if I really want to try that, so I didn't. And now I'm curious. So if you know anything about eggnog, please inform people in the comments. What's it made out of? Let me know. Do you like it? But I know that it's very popular around Christmas time in the US. Number 4 is something. Okay, number 4, we don't have wish lists. This is something that's taken me a couple of years to get used to in Denmark, where it's, you know, somebody will send you a list of the things they want, and it's kind of like you have to buy from this list. And I don't know why that kind of rubs me the wrong way. Could I say that? I mean, sure, I would love to give people ideas, you know, like we would give people ideas in the US, you know, hey, what do you want for Christmas? Oh, well, I could use these things. And then so you have an idea of what it is they're interested in, and then you could pick one, right? Kids write letters to Santa, right? So it's kind of like a wish list. But I think the Danes take it to a different level than what we would do in the US. You know, it's kind of like, here's the list of things, go out and buy it. It's been like the feeling, you know, it's like, oh, well, maybe I want to get something else for this person. Well, that's not on my wish list. We don't tend to do things like that. I think in the US, gifts tend to be personal. Not always. I mean, there are people just like, oh, I need to buy something for someone because it's Christmas. Which in a way is kind of, I don't know, a bad thing if you ask me. I love buying gifts for people because I know that they'll enjoy it, not because I feel obligated to buy it. So yeah, I think the whole idea of a wish list, I don't know, takes away the fun, if you ask me, because I feel like maybe I know maybe my nephew well enough to know what to get him for Christmas, or my dad, or something like that. And I'm really excited to find something that I think that they're gonna like, you know, and there's also this suspense of what are they gonna think about it, you know. But then in Denmark you have a wish list. It's like, here's what you asked for, you know what I mean? It's a little different. Number 5 is the Christmas stocking. If you follow me on TikTok, you would know I have a little video out there about the Christmas stocking, and I have seen it used only one way really in Denmark. And usually If people use it, it's because that's where they put like maybe an Advent present. So maybe the 4 Sundays of Advent, the child would get a present. And that's where it would go. So it's just like a place to put it. There are other people who go a little bit hardcore and they would have a present in the stocking every single day all the way up until December 24th. We don't use stockings that way in the US. I know for me, my family mostly is German, and so we have a lot of German traditions, and we use the stocking in 2 ways. This is not something that is typical of everyone in the US, but it's very typical of our family. On the night of December 5th, we put our stockings out, and the boys, my kids, will put their letters to Santa in their stocking. It's because the day of St. Nicholas is on December 6th. And for a lot of like German and Dutch, families, they'd put their shoes out. If we were at school on December 6th, the teacher said, you guys can put your shoes in the hallway, and St. Nick would come when we were in class. And I lived in a very German town, and, where like so many years back, they actually taught all their programs in German and things like that. So it's maybe different for me. But we would have St. Nick come take their, and we would consider St. Nick to be the same as Santa Claus. He'd come and take their letter, and then he would give them some like oranges and apples and maybe some chocolate and maybe like a little gift or something really, really small. And then on Christmas Eve, Santa comes and while the children are sleeping, and he fills up their stocking. And so he'll fill it up maybe with the same types of things, candy, candy mostly, maybe like a little present, but mostly just candy and everything. That's kind of how we use stockings. We say that we put them on the fireplace. Yeah, I'm sure a lot of people do put them on their fireplaces, but it's kind of wherever you have room. Like for us here, it's hanging from our TV stand because we have a pot-bellied stove, which is not, a very safe place to be putting our cloth Christmas stockings. But that's something that's also very different from the US to Denmark. Along with that, the next one is the fact that we usually open up all our presents on December 25th. Now, as a child growing up, I of course have my dad's side of the family and my mom's side of the family. So we would usually get together with one side of the family on Christmas Eve, and then we would open presents and have dinner and everything. And it would always be, at night. It would be supper time. And then the next day, Santa would come as we slept and filled our stockings and put our presents under the tree. And then we would open first thing in the morning our presents from Santa. And we would look in our stocking and we would have it all. We would always have Christmas music playing in the background, and I don't know, it was just a really cozy feeling, right? Danes like hygge. I mean, it's a really hygge feeling if you ask me. And then later in the day for lunch, we would spend it with maybe my mom's side of the family. And then we would have lunch, and we would all play with our toys, and we would open presents from that side of the family. It's not that we have to open all of our presents, on the 25th, but when it comes to the majority of them, it's probably because of Santa Claus that we're opening them on the 25th. Yeah, that's how we've always done it here. I know my kids are Danish and American, but we've always done it that way. It's always been Santa brings the presents when they're sleeping. So we haven't really experienced anything other than that with like Santa coming and giving the gifts on Christmas Eve. And yeah, I don't know. I really like the idea of waking up to a surprise, going to bed with that suspense and that excitement, and waking up and wow, look at everything, and Santa came, and yeah. Number 7 is one that might actually surprise some Danish people. A lot of people, I wouldn't say everybody, but I did hear this from a couple of people when I was talking with other Americans, and this is very true of my own family even. When we had moved to Illinois when I was younger, we didn't have any family in Illinois, so we didn't have to, go to a lot of other places and spend Christmas with different people. So we would actually go to the movies on Christmas Day. Maybe it would be kind of like late in the afternoon, early evening, but it was very common for people to actually go to the movies to movie theater and watch a movie. There might be some special movies that actually opened on Christmas Day. So that's not something you would see in Denmark. And, you know, we were still doing something as a family. And I mean, with everybody being busy, we never really went to movies together, especially, you know, when I was a teenager. So it was really nice to have that special time where we went to the movies as a whole family. Number 8, which I don't know about this in Denmark, but I would think it would be very different, is that, you know, we don't put a lot of emphasis on Christmas Eve during the day, because actually a lot of people will work on Christmas Eve during the day. And you might be thinking that's crazy, but we will even have stores open on Christmas Eve during the day, because most of the time people will celebrate Christmas on the 25th or at night on the 24th. So I know that my sister works in healthcare, so she tends to work on Christmas Eve. Like, I've been a teacher for so many years. We never had school on Christmas Eve. It's pretty much the same, you know, we would be done with school pretty much when the kids in Denmark are done. But there are people out there who will work during the day on Christmas Eve, and that's completely normal in the United States. Number 9 is a big one that I miss, and Corona is definitely not going to let me do it this year. But maybe in the future, it would be something that I could get going in my neighborhood. We'll see. Fingers crossed on that one, because, yeah, just because I want to do it doesn't mean my neighbors do. But it's the cookie exchange, or giving cookies as gifts. We're big into cookies in the US. We like to make a lot of different kinds of cookies. And I know I made a video on how to make Danish pevanilla, and those are like Christmas cookies that they have here in Denmark. But I don't know. I mean, I know that there are others. There's Kleiner, and there's the Brødkage, and then there's confect and whatever. I mean, I would think that that would be pretty much it. Maybe there's more, I don't know. But in the US, we have lots of different kinds of cookies for Christmas. And sometimes, like, we make these sugar cookies that are in different shapes, and then we decorate them and sprinkles and all kinds of things. We would spend a day or two making Christmas cookies, all different kinds. And then we would put them in little, like, tin containers, and we would go and we would give them to our neighbors. We would give them to, I don't know, people that we worked with. It would always be kind of like a special little gift. I mean, usually that's the thing that you would do for your neighbors. I know for me, in my neighborhood in the US, we had a cookie exchange. So how a cookie exchange works, if you're interested, is that you would make a certain amount of cookies. It would be decided upon before you got together. And then you would maybe divide them up. So let's say that you're getting together with 10 different people. You don't have to make 10 different batches of cookies. That could be what you've decided to do, but that would be a lot of cookies that you're taking home. So chances are maybe you're making 3 different, you know, batches of cookies. So I have 3 separate containers that I'm going to take to this cookie exchange. Everybody puts their cookies on the table, and then maybe you draw names of what order you're going to go in. And then everybody would kind of go around, and they would, you know, take turns taking something. And then you would leave with different kinds of cookies, right? So if I brought 3 different containers to share, I would leave with 3 different kinds of cookies from some of my neighbors. And it's always just a really fun excuse to get together. Number 10 is midnight mass. Now, this is very popular for Catholics who live in the US, that they would go to church at midnight and have a special midnight service. I know that it's very popular for Catholics kind of all around the world. I myself am not Catholic, so I have never experienced a midnight mass, but we definitely would go to church every Christmas Eve. There would always be a Christmas Eve service. There was probably like people singing songs or playing music or something, and it was just a really special time. I do go to church here in Denmark on Christmas Eve. It's a little different, you know, it's kind of, I don't want to say it's monotone, but if I compare it with my experience of my church in the US, there's a lot more celebration, there's a lot more, you know, maybe afterwards we'd even get together for like Christmas cookies and coffee and, you know, like, I don't know, it's very different. I'm gonna give you a few others that, like I said, are very different, things that I have never heard of before, but I have heard from other Americans living in Denmark of things that they miss, and I wanted to mention those as well. One of them is Christmas tamales. So I always grew up in the northern part of the US. I guess you can call me a Yankee. I don't know much about how they celebrate Christmas in the South, and one thing that I heard multiple times from people is that they have tamales, which is a type of Mexican food, on Christmas Eve. I've heard this from people who are Mexican from their family's ancestry, but I have also heard this from people who live in Texas. So I think, you know, it's the blending of different cultures. So it's really kind of interesting to hear about that because I've never heard that before. Also with the Mexican traditions, the stroke of midnight is when they open up their presents. So that's something I've also never heard of before. I've known so many Mexican families growing up in the US or also being a teacher, but I never took the time to ask them what they do for Christmas. So that's really kind of interesting. What about you? Is there something that I haven't mentioned that you know is very American or very true to your American upbringing that they don't celebrate here in Denmark? Let me know about it in the comments. Are you a Dane and you have heard or seen something maybe on TV about how Americans celebrate Christmas and you want to know, is that real? Is this something that they really do? Ask me that question in the comments and I will try to get back to you. I think this has been a really fun video. Thanks for coming along. I hope you have a fantastic Christmas and a god jul, and I hope to see you again very soon. Take care.